Alright guys, so today is what should have been day number 3 of the 75 day challenge, 75 hard. But instead, today is day 0 because I failed already. Now, making these videos, I just have to be like super authentic, right? Like it's a very difficult challenge. I don't know if anyone watching has gone through it or if it's your first time hearing about it. Or, maybe you're doing it right now, so you're looking at that kind of content, but it is a very difficult challenge. Like when you break everything down, it's not easy. It's not easy to stick to a diet consistently. It's not easy to drink a gallon of water a day. It's not easy to work out twice per day, one of them being outside and then one of them being at the gym. It's very, very difficult, especially when you're trying to manage your life alongside it. Like I run a real estate business, so it's not the easiest thing. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of upfront planning and thinking. And I thought about doing this challenge about maybe a day and a half before I decided, I'm going to pick up the camera and start filming and just go ahead and start and let's see what happens. And I'm very glad that I did that, extremely glad that I did that, because I learned so much in the last 2.5 to 3 days. I made my first YouTube video, which I'm very proud of myself for. It's something that I feel like I've always wanted to do. I'm a big YouTube learner kind of person. I've learned a lot of really helpful, beneficial things from YouTube. And I just, never decided on my own to pick up the camera and make my own content. So I'm very proud of myself for doing that. And, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And I feel like the editing and the filming and all that stuff is just kind of foreign to me and a little bit scary and intimidating, and I just never did it. So, when I had this idea, 2.5 days ago of, okay, I'm going to, do this 75 hard challenge and then start filming, there wasn't much planning that went into it. It was kind of just, I'm going to wing it and see what happens. Now, I don't regret that. I think the reason I failed is because I didn't plan enough, because this isn't something that you can just fall into, it's actually very challenging to do some of these habits. They're pretty radical compared to everyday life. And I'm also somebody that, I do a lot of these self-improvement activities already. I usually go to the gym, 4 times a week and strength train for an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. I'm in good shape. I usually wake up early. I drink a lot of water most days. I don't eat like trash. I don't really stick to a hardcore diet, but I don't eat bad. So a lot of these things I'm kind of sort of already doing, just not to this extreme level that the challenge requires. So, I just wasn't really prepared for everything that it had. So, and that's kind of why I wanted to hop on here and make this video. Number one is I just want to be authentic with hey, I failed a challenge. Day number 2 is when I failed. I literally did 1 day of the challenge, which is pretty pathetic. And it's just because of a complete lack of planning on my part. Now, could I have stayed up and got no sleep and chugged, a quarter of a gallon of water towards the end of the day? Sure, I could have done that and still been sticking with the challenge, but I didn't. I just decided to chalk it up and say, okay, I'm just going to reset. But I'm just being authentic kind of about, how that scenario went. And then today is what would have been day 3. So tomorrow is day 0. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be probably going to the grocery store and doing some sort of meal prep this evening. That way, I can have everything planned and ready to go. I need to buy water. I need to buy, food and measure things out so that I can easily eat my meals. I need to put on my actual calendar because I run a business, so my calendar is filled with all my appointments. I need to actually put when am I going to be doing the workouts? Am I going to be doing one of them in the morning and one of them in the evening? Am I going to be doing them both in the evening? I'm going to have to figure out a way to carve out that time, but still leave, openings for my appointments and things of that nature, because obviously I run a business. I can't just, not, see my clients and, do the things that I need to do. So that's what makes it challenging, is that you have to take this very demanding thing and implement it into your life. But I'm not a quitter. I'm not somebody that gives up easily. This is something that I still want to do. I'm going to continue to keep working towards it. And I'm also not disappointed that I failed, I'm really not. I'm actually proud of myself that I jumped into it without much preparation, because I think most people get stuck in the opposite, which would be analysis paralysis. Like most people spend all their time planning and don't take any action. I took action. I took action and I failed, but I learned so much in the last few days. I learned that I can't read in the evening after a long work day because even though it's 10 pages, it's just very difficult for me to sit down, focus, and read when I'm exhausted. I realized that I really have to pace out my water, otherwise you're screwed. Unless you just want to drink, half a gallon of water at 7 p.m. and then wake up peeing all night and get crap sleep, which screws you over for the next day. So I learned that. I learned that I for sure need to schedule when my workout times are going to be. That way there's no confusion of whether I'm going to try to squeeze it in at the end of the day or I'm going to wake up early and do it in the morning. So getting that stuff on my calendar is going to be really important to me. And then also, if you're going to be sticking to a diet, the chances of you just stumbling into that diet and sticking to it are slim. You have to do some degree of meal prep, some degree of planning. I'm doing like a MyFitnessPal type of thing. So like I need to get X amount of calories, X amount of protein, X amount of carbs. You don't just randomly, get that. At least not me. That like I'm not, super into counting my calories and stuff like that. So I can't just stumble into success. I have to actually like plan that out. So a big reason why I think I failed is because I didn't plan, but I'm glad that I didn't plan because I still took action. I went in there and I learned so much in the last 2.5 days. And I did more in the last day and a half than what, anybody else would have done if they would have had analysis paralysis and sat there and figured out, let me try to plan this and coordinate this and do that. And then nothing happens over the course of a month, right? So at least I took that step, fell flat on my face, failed. And now I'm like, okay, now what do I need to do to reset and actually figure this thing out and be better? So that's kind of my little rundown of what happened with the challenge. So tomorrow's day 0. This video is probably going to be like titled the reset or something like that. Like I failed on day 2. And then because I failed on day 2, day 3, I just washed, which again, that's terrible. I shouldn't be doing that. But tomorrow's going to be day 0 because that's what happens when you mess up the challenge is you have to reset yourself. So tomorrow's going to be day 0. I got to go get some food and I got to go figure something out with a diet and meal prepping tonight and get some water bottles. And then, I think I'll have a good plan of action moving forward. And, let's see what happens.